Hi, welcome back to Neshama B'Neshama. Would like to talk today a little bit about Yom Kippur. So one of the things that is really important to be aware of Yom Kippur, people talk about this, is that the day itself almost is meramez, is alluding to a different day. Because it's almost as if you could say it's a yom, a day, ki, like Purim, Yom Kippurim. That Yom Kippur is like the day of Purim, which is kind of strange because you would imagine that everything that goes on Yom Kippur is completely different than everything that goes on Purim. One day you're fasting and starving, the other day you're drunk as a skunk, and so on and so on. So how could it possibly be that the day which the Bible calls the Shabbases of all Shabbases, the Shabbat of Shabbatim, how could it possibly be that this holy, holy day is really just an allusion to the idea of Purim? Well, we know that actually there were 3 times that the Torah was given to the Jewish people. The first time was when Moshe came down with the 10 Commandments back in the month of Sivan. The second time is when he came down with the 2 sets of tablets for the second time after the first set had been destroyed in Tammuz. And that day that we actually received the Torah itself is Yom Kippur. And the third time we received the Torah was actually on Purim. Whereas on the receiving of the Torah, we said Nase v'nishma. On the receiving of the oral Torah, which is what happened on Purim, we said Kimu v'kiblu. Somehow or another, the real fulfillment of the receiving of the Torah is rooted in the receiving of the oral Torah. And therefore, there has to be something about the oral Torah which signifies the greatest level of the revelation of God in this world. And so while yes, it's true that Yom Kippur is a day where we reveal our inner ability to be saintly, to be angelic, to be like the angels, not eating, not doing this, not doing that, spending all day in the synagogue, hopefully elevating ourselves to great heights, still that's secondary to, instead of becoming angelic, to becoming human. And therefore, the idea of the oral tradition shows the capability of a Kodesh Baruch Hu's infinite wisdom to integrate and to weave into our daily lives, where the book of the Megillah Esther doesn't even have the name of God. And yet it becomes the day where we are able to see God at every facet in our life. But the only way that we can reach that ultimate level of not being an angel, but being a human being, and bringing godliness into the mundane daily activities of our lives and finding in the hide-and-go-seek relationship with God, is the way that we observe on Yom Kippur. And the reason this is because, as I mentioned, that the third time after 40 days that Moses came down from Mount Sinai was on Yom Kippur. And that is the idea which began 40 days earlier at the beginning of the month of Elul, where we say, Ani ledodi v'dodi li. The Amshanava Rebbe points out that the gematria of the word li is 40, because li means to be to me, to be to God. And therefore, when on the 40th day of Yom Kippur, we are at the level where we are able to give ourselves to God, then we are on the level where we can understand God in every facet in our lives, even as we reach to the day of Purim. And this is also hinted at, one last little thought on Rosh Hashanah. The gematria of Elul is 67, which means if we do all the rectifications on Elul of Tshuva, then on Rosh Hashanah it becomes 68. 68 is Chaim. That's why the tzaddikim are inscribed for life immediately with the beginning of Rosh Hashanah. And those of us that are not tzaddikim, like myself included, of course, we work our way till the day of Yom Kippur, when then we could all be inscribed in a new year of life.